So, 1993, pretty much I think I was divorced, and around about that time, um, my wife started off making allegations via the solicitors. But actually, over time, they got more and more serious. I think all the guys know exactly what I'm talking about here. And eventually, she was hinting at child sexual abuse, and then eventually came out and just openly started calling, saying that I'd abused the children. We had a child psychiatrist involved who was instructed to see me with the children, which he never actually did. He did my assessment based on what she'd said to him. What a bastard, eh? Anyway, shit happens, I guess. And so, um, after a few years, I was cut off eventually, completely and totally from my children. That was it. So, fast forward, probably about what probably would have been about 1996 ish, something like that. It might have been less, 95, maybe 95, 96. And by that time, obviously, the fact that I wasn't seeing my children had quite a bad effect on me. Um, I was really struggling with it. Um, Also, she was accusing not just me, but my entire family of being like a paedophile ring. All that, it just got absolutely freaking crazy. And of course, she never got shut down. She never got stopped from all these allegations. She didn't have to prove a single thing. She just had to say it, and everybody, oh right, oh god, oh, what an evil group of people. And that was it. Of course, as soon as she realised there was no consequences to whatever she said, she just kept repeating things and making them worse as we went along. Anyway, like I said, I was drinking heavily. I was working. Was I working? I wasn't actually working. No, I was in a bad way and drinking very heavily. I did a I was doing a little bit of digging here and there, literally a garden, and just for a few days to try and take my mind off it. And I was helping a friend out. I forgot what it's called, and staying at my brother's house and his wife's. And this particular weekend, I'd been drinking very, very heavily. Something called they'd been on holiday to Greece, I think it was, and his wife had brought him back some Mahon Gin, and I got absolutely off my head on this bloody stuff. And then that morning, the following morning, it was a Sunday morning, and it was Mother's Day, and I don't know why, but my two sisters came around and insisted on me going to the church with them because it was Mother's Sunday. And to be quite honest, I was too pissed still in the morning to argue with them, so I just kind of went along like you do. And I remember going to this church. I think it was a Methodist church or something like that, and I couldn't walk. I was literally hanging on. Yeah, I was suspended between the pair of them. They walked me into the church. Couldn't walk. Dumped me on this pew. And I didn't know what sat behind me was my mum and dad. And then I think the two sisters probably would have sat at either side because of still slumped, like, you know what I mean, trying to come round. And the minister um, did his thing. It was called Eddie Inglis. Great guy in actual fact, black guy. And then he came to this part in this section in the, whatever he was doing. He sang a few hymns and whatnot. And I was sort of that sort of thinking, oh God, let it end, let it end. And and he said this, if you want Jesus to come into your life, put your hand up. Now, I need to explain something at this point, okay? Prior to all this, while I was digging the holes, digging footings or something, but I had actually taken the tools that I'd been given to do this work and hidden them in the boot of my car. I'd actually decided that I was going to kill my wife by this time. So I had the tools to dig a shallow grave. I was going to give her a dreadful death. You know what I mean? It was, like I said, incredibly angry and in a real bad way, a real dark mood, I suppose, that just never seemed to end. Felt like the weight of the world on my shoulders. Fast forward now back to when we were in the church, and when the minister said, "If you want Jesus to come in your life, put your hand up now." I don't even remember consciously even doing it. What I do remember is somehow my arm got lifted up, and I can assure you it was not my choice. It's like I felt it going up, and I sort of looked at it going up like that, thinking, "What the hell?" There was nobody holding it, and as it reached the highest point, it was like being electrocuted. Immense power coming down into my arm, and as the power came down into my arm, this anger, this rage, this darkness, this evil just sort of like dissipated back up and was gone. And I have no idea how long it lasted. It might have only been a few seconds long, could have been 30 seconds, I have no idea. But when it finished, I felt totally different, and I mean totally different. The anger had completely gone. The rage had completely gone. I didn't feel anything either one way or another about about either being able to see the children or indeed not being able to see them. It was weird. It's like somebody just flicked a switch and switched off or turned down all my emotions to a point where all of a sudden I could handle it. And it was truly amazing. And I felt light, physically light, when I walked out of that church. And there is no doubt in my mind that was an encounter, a full-on encounter. Now, there is more to it, quite a bit more to it, but I'm going to save that for another section. Okay, so that was my initial meeting. And bear in mind, and I think it's important to remember this, I was drunk. That's taught me that God will meet us wherever we are, in whatever state that we happen to be in. So I think it's very important that we don't look at someone else and then judge them on how they might look or appear, or even what state they're in. Clearly, God, Jesus, meets us exactly where we are, when we are. That's the end of it. Okay, so I hope this is helpful to someone. I really do. It's vital. It's vital that you have a relationship with God. You don't have to be perfect. That's one of the things that kept me away, because I'm far from perfect. Even now, I mess up all the time. I'm good at messing up. Believe me, really, really good at it. It is about an actual relationship. You get that part of it right. You mess up less. You still mess up, but you mess up significantly less. Look towards a relationship. One of the things that Jesus says that he'll do with a lot of so-called Christians is, "Get away from me, I don't know who you are." That's because they never had a relationship with him. They might well have gone to church all the time, they might have been very nice people, done lots of good things, but they did not have that relationship. It's a relationship that is important. Please, please, please don't ever forget that. Take care. God bless.